AI in these jobs, first of all, what do we know about really the specifics of what happened, why it's happening now, and should we point our fingers at AI?
Yeah, there have been many warnings. And so if we go back to September of last year, Jassy put out a message that talked about flattening bureaucracy. And so Amazon's saying that this is largely an outgrowth of that. At that time, he had set some targets for the beginning of this year, but they're saying that Amazon is, further flattened bureaucracy by, increasing the ratio of workers to managers, more frontline people and fewer people managing them. So that's a big piece. And of course, this comes just months after he gave a kind of cryptic message about, I don't know what AI is going to mean, but we're probably going to get smaller is kind of what he said. So, that was a warning as well. And then there were also things that have happened, back in January, they had a return to office mandate 5 days a week, which is pretty aggressive within the tech industry. They've ordered people to return to particular cities and hubs, even people who were hired during the pandemic to remote roles. So there's been a lot of things to kind of make life less pleasant and increase attrition. And then layoffs are generally the ultimate outcome if they're not able to meet these goals through attrition alone. And a lot of that just reflects a kind of a poor job market for tech workers right now.
Yeah, you're not the first person to mention that to us, Spencer. And I wonder how things are going to look in Seattle. Geographically, do we know where these job cuts are? You mentioned some remote workers who,
global.
But is there a concentration of them?
Amazon's scattered far and wide, and so these are global. We haven't picked up any whiff that they're particularly acute one place or another. They're basically everywhere Amazon has operations, from India to Seattle to, their HQ2 in Arlington, Virginia, to the Bay Area in California. It's all over the place. Their ad business in New York. These cuts are sweeping and are hitting everywhere. Well,
we're also learning about not just where they are geographically, but also in what divisions. Jason Schreier, our colleague at Bloomberg News, who covers the video game industry, he has a piece out just in the last couple of hours about Amazon gutting its video game division as part of this sweeping layoff that will eliminate the 14,000 corporate jobs. What can you tell us about that?
Yeah, gaming has always been a pretty small aspirational piece of Amazon. So if that division is getting hit hard, it just signals that they're retrenching a bit and focusing on their core, which would be the online retail business and the cloud computing business, and now the advertising business, which is basically an extension of the online retail business plus some streaming thrown in. But the video game division has always been fairly small, and it's probably just harder for it to fight for its life right now.
It's interesting. I am looking at Amazon shares are up about 1.5%. Is this just a company kind of righting its ship according to what it needs today in the business environment? It's nothing more than that. I guess for us, we just feel like all of a sudden we're seeing a bunch of companies with some decent sized layoffs. And so trying to read the tea leaves if there's a bigger, broader labor story. But is it just kind of Amazon looking at its business and being like, well, here's what we really need to be doing?
Well, if you take a really big step back beyond just Amazon and the tech sector, you just have to look that there's just been a climate of uncertainty and turmoil this entire year. Tariffs on again, off again. We've got things that affect the tech industry in particular around H-1B visas. There's just been a lot of blindside maneuvers that affect these industries, and that generally just makes folks more cautious. It's like, all right, we don't know what's coming next. We don't know what the holidays are going to look like. The job market's deteriorating. So I think everybody right now is just kind of bracing for the storm, seems to be the big takeaway. But I wouldn't put that on any particular business or industry right now. That seems to be a sweeping sentiment.
More to come, Spencer? Jassy's warned us.
Yeah, so there were some lines in there that they're in the notification about these particular cuts came from Beth Galetti. She's like their top HR person, and there was some cryptic language in there that this, there could be more coming later. Even the title of her email to the employees who survived the layoffs began something like "staying nimble," which made a lot of people a little bit nervous. I was just by the campus today and able to speak with some employees kind of dealing with the fallout today. So there's definitely folks who survived this round are breathing a sigh of relief, but also worried about what's happening next.
Yeah, well, talk to us about the folks you've spoken to who survived this and sort of the vibe that is there. I mean, does it feel like people are on pins and needles, or is this like, okay, there's been a reset here, we understand the mission moving forward?
Yeah, the vibe is gloomy, and that's largely just the part of the year that we're in Seattle. It's just that gloomy time of year. But that's precisely the word that one worker I spoke with shared with me. They have an urban campus, so you're able to kind of maneuver around and catch people coming in and out of offices. Yeah, one worker described the mood as pretty gloomy. You didn't see people leaving with their things or anything like that. It did look kind of business as usual. I spoke with another man who was nervous. He basically spent the entire night following some Reddit thread looking for any clues that he might be laid off or survive. And he got nervous when he saw someone in his, with his specific job title and even more experience had been laid off. So that made him worried. But then he ended up surviving. But yet again, he's one of the people who mentioned, the messaging from Amazon wasn't that reassuring that the ship's steady from here on out. He was one of the folks that expects more to come.
So I find it interesting too, right, Spencer? We're going to get the quarterly update from Amazon on Thursday after the closing bell. So were they just trying to get this out ahead of other stuff so that they could just focus on the business, if you will? I mean, I'm assuming the call's going to have a lot of questions about this news, but the timing seems kind of interesting. We're going to get their earnings and we'll hear from them in a big way on Thursday.
Yeah, you can always question about the timing of these announcements and things. A lot of people wonder, like, okay, are they maybe saving some layoffs because they want to get through the very busy holiday quarter when they sell a lot of gifts on the online retail business? And that's also when Amazon traditionally has its reInvent, its big cloud computing convention in Vegas. And so does it want to get through that before it does any further layoffs? So there's definitely just a lot of speculation around the timing of this, indicating that there could be more, there could be a reason to do this in more of a cadenced flow than all in one shot.
So I want to go back to big picture here, Spencer, and just think about where Amazon is as a huge retailer, then also as a huge cloud provider. As we do get into the holiday season, we have spoken with Amazon's head of robotics, Ty Brady, just last week, all about how, and one question that I had for him was about hiring around the holidays, and if robotics and automation helps them hire less with these sort of like surge events, like a Prime Day or like a holiday season. Do we have any indications right now about the health or how Amazon thinks about the holiday season? I know we're going to get an update from them later this week, but what are we hearing? What are you hearing on the ground? What are you hearing in terms of hiring for the holiday season that you can tell us?
Well, they've said that they plan to hire 250,000 over the holidays, including seasonal workers, and that's the same number as there was a year ago. And so a key thing we have to understand is you can only glean so much from that number, because Amazon's warehouses are like a real-time labor calculation machine. People are constantly offered, hey, do you want to go home early today? Hey, we need you for extra time tomorrow. Amazon's constantly like doing the math on how much people they need to get through that particular day and refining. So headcount alone isn't the best measurement. They prepare for the best, but they're definitely ready. Even if they're carrying those people on payroll, these are hourly employees, and they can scale them back on the number of hours or encourage them to go home or say, hey, go home early if you want. They've got a lot of knobs beyond headcount that they can turn.
Hey, real quickly, 20 seconds. What's the maybe one number that we should focus on when they do report? What's the key thing on Thursday? Real quick.
I'd look for the revenue outlook just in terms of the health of the overall consumer and the health of their cloud business, with stepped up competition in AI.